And last but not least, sticking with Netflix now, allow me to talk about The
Yeah, well,
Bubble.
you do this bullshit. I mean, you take the hit for the team. You jump
Yeah,
on the screen.
I took it. I took it, right?
But the thing is,
I'll tell you why, yeah? And it's such a
when I,
dumb reason, but I'll tell you why.
all I'll say is that when I heard something like this was being made, I was thinking, is what who it is? Is Judd Apatow, right? So I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, that sounded like you're gonna be real self-indulgent. But I was thinking, all right, it's not gonna be that bad, and it might be fun. But then when you send your message, I was like, nah, all right, well, it's
Yeah, I will share my what the Facebook post was, right? Which I made in the middle of watching the film actually, right? But let me get to what the film is, right? So this was dropped on April Fools, like literally a couple days before the time of us meeting here, right? And I should have known this was gonna be bullshit from the release date, right? But the reasoning behind me watching this now is the cast, right? Because for a Netflix film, you have some really like solid talent, right? You have Karen Gillan, you know what I mean? You know her from Doctor Who, of course, the Galaxy films. Pedro Pascal's in this, right?
right.
Pedro freaking Pascal, right?
Yeah,
In
Mandalorian,
Netflix, right? Mandalorian, right? Wood.
Mando himself, yeah.
David Duchovny, right? I mean, not a big name
Yes.
now, but I mean, of course, X-Files, right? Keegan Michael Key. I was curious to see, what he would have brought to the table here, right? Because I don't know, like I don't really, it's not like I follow every single thing that he does, right? But I haven't seen him in a film in a while, right? It's ironic that the last
What's the
movie that I
last thing I
saw
saw
him
him?
in was The Predator. I find that so ironic and not even funny.
Okay, yeah, he was in that. Yeah, I can't think of what he was in though. Like
He probably was in something recently, yeah, but for the life of me, I just can't remember, right? Um, Kate McGill from SNL, she in this too, yeah. Leslie Mann, she in this. You know what I mean, so there's a lot of big names as well. Even Maria Bakalova from Borat 2, she's in this. Yeah, so I'm like, all right, stellar cast here, right? What's the worst that could go wrong, right? Now, before I get into what this show is about, right? As I say, what's the worst that could go wrong? Another show this remind me of, actually the show that this remind me of so much, right? And I made mention of this in my Facebook post, right? Was a little film called Don't Look Up.
Yeah, wow, that bullshit.
Yeah, the best picture Oscar nominated film, right?
Yeah.
And in a way, boy, this is actually worse than Don't Look Up. I didn't even think that was possible.
Okay. Right.
So what this is about, right? In a nutshell, is about a all right. So in the world of the bubble, right? In the bubble of the bubble, right? There is a franchise called Cliff Beast, right? Essentially, it's supposed to be a play on Jurassic Park, but it's more like these dragon-like dinosaur creatures, right? And it always involves these human adventurers who kind of run afoul of them, and they have to be one step ahead of them and try to stop them and before they get devoured, right? All that good stuff, right? And it's like this wildly successful franchise, right? Even though it is usually panned by critics, right? So the director of the series, right? Or I should say the producer of the series, he says, you know what? And oh, by the way, on the subject of the title, it's actually set in, well, they don't really say exactly what year it is, right? But it's clear that it's set in 2020, right? Because they talk about, well, this is, during the height of the pandemic, right? So it's clear that it's 2020, not so much 2021, right? But point is, the producer decided, here's what, I gonna make the sixth film in this, right? Cliff Beast 6, right? But I want to make this during the pandemic, right? And there's this joke that just fell flat, right? Well, it's basically him, who is played by, so basically he's the director of the film. He's played by Fred Armisen, right? I know I've seen him before.
Fred Armisen. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. That's a big name, right? So,
yeah, you do a bunch of shit. Yeah, I know. Okay.
Right,
okay,
right.
Yeah,
So,
Muscusi. That's where I knew you from.
oh, right. Him, right. Yeah. Right. So basically him and the executive producer basically, well, they decide they're gonna make this film, right? They're gonna make it, right? There's this like dumb gag involving Kate McKinnon. So she basically plays one of the, well, a studio executive, right? So she kind of overseeing everything, right? They talk about, well, because they have moments throughout the film where it's like, do we really need to do this? We should halt production for now, for the sake of our lives. But she's like, no, well, Tom Cruise is making a film right now, so why we should be making ours, right?
Right.
I'm like, well, you're referring to what Mission Impossible 6 or whatever it is,
Right.
like,
Yeah.
but what, or is it to, Top Gun Maverick? I don't know. It could be one of the two, but I do
It don't
think that
matter.
it's a play on the Mission Impossible, films, right? But whatever, right? So a cast is assembled, right? And they have to basically quarantine themselves in this hotel, right? This includes, Karen Gillan, who plays Carol Cobb. She basically is an actress who just been taking a lot of shit from critics. So her career basically is in the toilet right now. So she just needs this one film to to revive her career, right? We have Crystal, who is played by Iris Apatow. I assume that's Judd's daughter. I assume. I don't know, right? Because she's very young, right? And she's this TikTok superstar. So she does there basically for to get people to watch the film. Basically, that's what it is, right? Pedro Pascal, he plays Dieter. He is a veteran actor, so he's a first timer to this franchise here. We have Leslie Mann and David Duchovny, who basically they are a couple basically, right? But they separated because of reasons, because some adopted kid, but they working at the film together, and throughout the film you kind of wondering if they go get hooked back up together and whatnot. Even Keegan Michael Key is there. He's an actor in this film as well, too, right? So essentially what it is, this is a bunch of actors in this hotel, right? They just there quarantine, and I think they're there for like about 2 weeks forever. And you have this really like painfully unfunny montage involving how they're dealing with the pandemic, right? The boredom. Oh, we're gonna binge shows, and we're gonna watch adult entertainment on our laptops and blah 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 blah, because that's what real people was doing during the pandemic, right? So it's funny when you see actors do it, right? It's not funny, right? Crickets, right?
Terrible.
Move it on. And while all this is going on now, they actually show you the production of Cliff Beast 6, right? And as you'd expect, it's like it's intentionally meant to look like it's a bad film, like that's the joke. Like, oh, the dialogue is trash, and there's this subplot involving David's character, who was writing for the show, but he being pressured to add all these shitty lines. He's like, no, I want to write this film my own way because I want to redeem myself as an actor and a screenwriter, and blah 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 blah. And his ex-wife, who could be his wife again or whatever, kind of treated as like, oh, this is just your ego and all that kind of stuff, right? So all that tension, all that kind of
this song incredibly self-indulgent and terrible.
It is. Yeah, right? So, and of course, the production goes to shit because ever so often somebody will end up getting sick with COVID, right? And some other shenanigans would happen. And then later on, they kind of have this distrust to the director, and they think that, he is this, some sort of dictator or whatever. So Karen, well, she's the one who actually kind of goes with that narrative, right? Yeah, she wants to leave this thing. She wants to leave this shoot as soon as, right? But the way how they frame it is almost like, oh, you can't leave because you have the security system there, right? And one particular character, I'm not gonna say who, but it's a kind of spoiler, actually gets shot, and like her hand gets blown off, right? Yes, her hand, right? That's all I'll say, right? And so it's like, oh my god, what do we do, right? And then they like in the third act, literally, they hatch this plan basically to escape this production. And I'll stop here, right? So as I said, that Do Look Up is actually better than this though. Why I say that though is that Do Look Up actually had a plausible premise, right? Which is, this.
At least you can accept the conceit of the premise. So I just say it like
exactly, and how people respond to that, right? Like it makes sense. Oh, people not gonna take it seriously. The president's not gonna take it seriously. People are not gonna take it seriously. And then when it becomes a thing, let's hashtag about, right? So they were making some good points, right? And it felt logical, right? Even though the jokes fell flat here, right? Here, what they try to do, they really try to go for this kind of weird mix of, oh, we're being satirical, but we're also trying to throw slapstick humor. We're also trying to throw, like, this crass 2000s-esque humor as well, too, right? Yeah. So characters will just be like, fuck you, I'm done with this set, fuck everybody, and all that kind of stuff, right? That's what they're trying to go for, right? Like, people being pressured, but the reasons why they're being pressured don't make any sense to me. So case in point, you have this character, this British actor, right? But he has Pakistani roots actually, right? And
Oh,
yeah, I know I saw him. I think he was in Army of Thieves, right? That one show. I think I was the only person who watched it and reviewed it. But yeah, right. So he going off like
who you thinking about, right? What is that?
Gus Khan. That's his name, Gus Khan.
Yeah, okay, I know you don't.
Right. And the joke is that, he just can't accept the fact that he's in this place. And, everybody's telling him, you need to be calm. And he's like, no, I can't be calm because everybody's around me getting COVID and I could die and all that kind of stuff, right? And, he flips out and leaves, right? And that's a joke. The way how he walks and he's cussing, that's a joke.
That is a
Miguel Maria Bakalova, she's this hotel clerk, right? And there's this thing involving her actually liking Pedro Pascal. I don't blame her, right? But even him himself, Pedro's character, right? He talk about, well, like he just want to hit, he just want to smash somebody. He just want to have sex. That's the gag. He wants to have sex, right? And it goes as far as literally him taking drugs, right? And him imagining. Picture this, right? Those that kind of virtual home equipment thing, it usually has like this female avatar who kind of talks to you and tells you what you want to do.
Right. Okay. They're doing that.
Yeah,
right?
that's what they do. So he's so high off his mind now, he literally tries to have sex with an avatar.
Oh, sure.
From my equipment system.
Oh, they're really doing that.
This is how low the bar. They just literally
scraping
the barrel here. Yeah, they're scraping the barrel here, right? And it goes even deeper.
Yeah.
Karen, right? Who plays Karen, right? Love Karen Gillan, right? But here she's just totally wasted, boy. So you're trying to paint like, actors.
Anything with this,
exist. Well, one thing, like actors, in there, like they really try hard to say, try to show that actors live these great lives, and we all envy them, right? So when we were all home suffering because of COVID, they were probably living it up, right? But then they want to show she this in this hotel room, and she doesn't know what to do. She's going out of her mind. You know what I mean? She's trying to pleasure herself at some point and all that kind of stuff, right? To the point that literally she ends up hooking up with this football player, or assuming they're a football player or whatnot, right? And the joke is, well, actors are like real people too because they have desires and urges just like everybody else. Like, motherfucker, we know that. So what you're trying to tell me with this, right? What you're trying to tell me, right? Oh, and also side gag as well too. Also, her boyfriend just broke up with her, right? And then he actually brought his new girlfriend over at her place and all that kind of stuff. It's like, oh my god, what did I do? So she want to get back at him, and it just goes nowhere. It goes absolutely nowhere.
This kind of remind me of it. Remember when Joss Whedon made a movie with a bunch of actors? I think Much About Nothing. That is what it feels like.
Oh, I haven't seen about her. It was trash though.
It was terrible. Yeah, it was absolutely terrible. But like, is that kind of nonsense? Like, well, they make a movie about COVID during COVID. It's a similar conceit because I think he wasn't licensed to make the movie and he secretly do it anyway. Is that like that is what coming across like me? Is this again sadly self-indulgent filmmaker with the self-indulgent filmmaker friends doing anything. Like, look, I like John Apatow, funny guy, good filmmaker, all things considered, but yeah, he could stop.
Really and truly, he didn't need to do this, man. So as far as the jokes, boy, I would say nearly all of them fell flat. Nearly all of them fell flat, right? There's a couple of moments where I chuckled. There's a couple of cameos, and I'm gonna say who. I was like, okay, you in this? Alright, cool. Right, the Netflix money, alright, cool. Alright, cool. And he actually made for some interesting side gags, right? But the majority of it just relied so much on crass humor. I'm not saying that I hate crass humor, right? I'm not some, Puritan or whatever like that, right? I'm not saying that, right? But in the context of the show, it just doesn't work. Like imagine this, right? You're taking actors who are playing actors, right? Who you're supposed to be siding for, and you're laughing at the hijinks or whatnot, right? And when it's not about the film, I'll talk about that. When it's not about the film, you're finding a whole bunch of things to do. And the joke is, well, it's how we all had to try to cope. During COVID, right? We had to take drugs. We had to look at movies and media and porn, and that's the joke. Like, oh gosh, it's just it's basically stuff that we pretty much in some way, shape, or form all had to do and deal with in 2020 and 2021 now. But the joke is, it's Hollywood actors doing this, man. So it's funny because they doing the same thing that we were doing. They binging Netflix. They looking for this and that to do. Isn't that funny? No, it's not.
Okay.
It's not funny.
Yeah.
Well, I don't understand what the point is, right?
This look like the film equivalent of when remember Gal Gadot had Imagine and all of them was singing that bullshit, and everybody started.
Oh my
Yeah.
god! Oh gosh!
Remember
Yeah, that was one of
bullshit?
the cringiest moments of
Yeah,
2020.
exactly.
Like
It's something
right?
like that.
Yeah.
It's
So
a-
so
it's
couple
something
yeah.
like that.
So
Anyway,
couple things before you get to read it, right? Because I just getting more and more pissed off talking about this, right? So yeah, nearly all the jokes fall flat. Though I will say that the performers themselves, the actors in the show, they try. They really, really, really try, boy. But there was just little to nothing for them to do. It was just all these dumb, crass, attempts at humor that just don't work. They just come off way too juvenile and not as intelligent as you'd expect from a man like Judd Apatow, right? Because even when he does crass humor, I mean, look at the 40-year-old virgin, right? There was like intelligence and there was like genuine heart to that film, right?
It had a good logic to it. Like you see the
Exactly.
thing with humor. Humor can be random or whatever it is, but even supposed absurd or random humor has a kind of innate logic to it that you have to like follow now. But when it have some people who just think random is random now. No.
Exactly.
It have talent. It had to have effort to it.
That's right. And I know there will be people, right? Especially like if you're fans of certain characters, like, oh, you want to see Pedro Pascal be funny, right? You want to see him try to have sex with an avatar. It just doesn't work, right? But I know for some people, they'll just laugh at the fact that, oh, it's Pedro and it's David and it's Karen being idiots, right? But that's the problem. They're being idiots in this show for no reason, right? And then to talk about the show itself, right? Like Cliff B6, right? Now I get the joke, right? I get that it's supposed to be a bad film, right? But you think for something like this, it would have been like, say, something like the Office, right? Where it's about a documentary about the making of the film, right? It's even to the point that you literally have a character walking with a camera filming footage for a documentary. And every time you come to him and you mention some kind of question about COVID and regulations, you always tell him, fuck off, right? That's a joke. Every time he wants to know what's going on, they tell him to fuck off, right? But then afterwards, somebody will get sick. And that's a joke. They get COVID. And now they're flipping out. What do we do, right? But the film could have just simply be, we're just trying to make a really terrible film during COVID, and let's see the pressures of it. Because that's why I went into this film wanting to see, kind of just wanted to see some sort of insight or some sort of humorous take on how it really was to make big budget films, or in this case, kind of, small budget, I should say, film, right? During it, in 2020. Like, that would have just, that is a brilliant premise right there. Yep. For a short or a sketch, right?
A short
but
or
instead,
a sketch.
This runs for 2
Speaking of that, right? So they just had even SNL, even though that I again tired of the whole rap in juxtaposition for normal things in life. SNL had an exact bit about this fucking shit, the whole things being too longer than they need to be. Like, there's a little pattern I noticed, right? I'm noticing, like, I don't know when they start, but like stuff way longer than they should be, right? Like,
that is the most ironic thing I've ever heard, that SNL bring that to light.
Yeah,
well,
SNL.
They made fun of the fact that when Pete made his movie, it was way too long too. The King of Staten Island.
The King of Staten Island.
Right. Yeah, they even made fun of that. They're like, yeah, it's still though, but like
it was long, but there was a lot of heart to it. Though there was still characters that you care about, Even Pete, even though you might like him for just being this loser, but in the film. But yeah, I mean, still, right? But yeah, this film is 2 hours and 6 minutes, Dread.
That is ridiculous.
No reason for this movie to be so long, Dread. Or just basically telling this joke over and over and over. Actors are real people too, and it's funny how they had to deal with COVID, but they're dealing with it in a worse way because they assume that they're better off than us, but mentally they're worse off, right? That's a joke.
Oh, rich people. Oh no, so sorry.
That's a joke, right? That's a joke. Rich people, have much more difficulty to deal with the real world than us. That's the joke. Being hit over our head over and over and over, and they couldn't even come with a proper premise, right? Right down to the third act.
That sounds so tone deaf. Like, it doesn't surprise me that Judd Apatow did it, because it's his style. He have a tone deaf style. You understand? So, wow.
Yeah. Even right down to the show, more or less, disconnecting itself from, we're gonna make fun of the fact that we're making a bad movie in COVID times, to I need to get out of this set now because the director assumedly is gone crazy, which he doesn't actually. It's just one person, right? That's Karen's character. Literally one person telling herself, I can't deal with this. This is too much for me. You know what I mean? And, it's just temper tantrums. That's all it is.
Right.
I can't deal with this. I need to get back to my normal life. I can't deal with it, man. I'm an actress. That's a joke, right? But she go off with it so much now that she gets some of the other people involved, including the person who got she hand shut off. That's all I would say, to basically flee the scene. And in this really like god-awful scene, literally is them trying to escape. So basically think the Great Escape, but just with dumb actors who working in that dumb film, right? And that's the end of the film, right? So yeah, but I get a headache talking about this film right now. This was a train wreck, though. I was bored, but at the same time, whilst being bored, I was just angry throughout all this, mainly because of the talent. You could see just this wasted talent. Everybody in this film could have been in a much better comedy thread. And again, you could say, well, it's all about social satire and all that kind of stuff, man. I've seen social satire done much better than this, much more impactful than this. Telling me, oh, rich people don't know how to deal with real life, especially during COVID. What does that tell me? What does that tell you, right? Sorry. So rating wise, this gets a 1 out of 5, but of course it sucked. It's easy one of the worst things I've seen for the year. For all I know, this might not be number one as far as worst movies of the year go by. The funny thing is not so much that it come from Netflix, because Netflix has put out trash in the past. Is that it has such is the ensemble cast, right? I know a lot of people gonna jump into this because of the cast, right? Again, going off of like what we saw, I think the reason why something like this exists is because of Don't Look Up. Because that show just had such like A-list actors in this. That
show get away with bullshit, yeah.
I get away with that now. You take it and get nominated for Oscars now. People think, all right, well, this can be that high caliber, level, storytelling and filmmaking and humor, right? And you get none of that. Even the direction all felt inspired and all to it. It was just blah. It was just been there, done that, not really anything special. The jokes they make about the behind the scenes stuff, I forgot to mention, with the green screen stuff. None of it was funny. Oh, we're fighting, CG, dinosaur dragon thingies. That's funny. No, it isn't, right? They getting high off of drugs and they puking on set. That's not funny. Oh, somebody got sick and, we all think it's COVID. That's not funny. None of the show is funny. Don't even waste your time with this, but easy one of the worst things I've seen this year. Easy one of the worst things Netflix have put. Even right now,
listen to him burn it, guys. Listen to him burn it.
Yeah. Last thing I'll say. I would quicker rewatch Don't Look Up.
What is
than watch this movie again.
Just
so I could see what I miss out in that movie, and what was it about that particular movie that made it that earned it its nomination for Best Picture. Maybe I missed something here. I don't think I did. I really don't think I did. But I would quicker watch over Don't Look Up just to see if there was something in that movie that I missed, or maybe I just was, in a wrong state of mind when I watched it the first time. And maybe if I watch it again, I'll appreciate this a smidge more. But I'll quicker do that than watch this shit again, Jed. So, burst this bubble, waste of time, forget this shit.